Hello. Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, good. They're gonna hear you smacking lips. Everyone loves that. Is what I always hear.
Yeah, people love it. And people eat beef jerky.
Oh yeah, things. That's their favorite. The vegans are big fans of that, I believe.
Yes. I can lie. I can say it's black bean jerky. Is that even a thing? I don't
know. Okay, Christ, the cameras. All right, let me fix this. Am I using the right thing? I'm using the right thing, all right? Podcast. Yeah, okay. All right. My camera is just busted. I don't know how to fix this. I'll just have to use this other thing. It's and then let me get my face in there.
Let me actually go to the bathroom before we get going.
Yeah, sure thing. Yep. Where is it? What? I'm coming. Okay, she needs water and there's a ding dong at the door. Okay, I'll be right there, kiddo. I'm just gonna wait for Mike to come back to take over talking to the people. And I'm gonna fix my camera. Oh, he's multi-talented, everybody. Oh no. Let me hang on. I'll just fix my camera too. Why isn't it not going in there? Let's see. Properties. Oh, it's way over there. No, still not peeing?
I think I'm shy now for some reason.
Oh no! Oh well, listen, everyone's cheering you on. Okay, we need positive messages, everybody. What do you have to say? Now. All right, there's me. My camera's broken. It's very frustrating to me. Well, video broadcast is broken, but whatever. What was I gonna do? I was going to go get the door. Okay, everybody, I'll be right back, and then we'll get started. I promise.
That's right, Penny. We don't mess around here. Remember 2 years ago when we were all singing the happy birthday song while washing our hands? Feels like a long time ago. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to ask Jeff about the ants. If you don't know what that means, you'll find out soon. Let me just log into Stream Elements. I'm going to tweet too. I am going to tweet Jeff Grubb. I feel much better, thank you. I still need to get a light for myself. Let's ask at Jeff Grubb about the Steam Deck. Seems like he likes it a lot, huh? Can't wait for a quarter two. Oh, that's a code for... almost put in a code for a video game that's not out yet instead of the link to this thing. That would have been funny. Would have been a big mistake. The Earth is made out of 80% ants. You're watching... Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to block the view. Man, Jeff's chair is much more interesting than mine. I'll tell you that. Cesaro to AEW, maybe. Yeah. We'll see. Like, I love Cesaro. The problem is, like... It's like, what are they going to do with him, right? Like... because I want Cesaro to have a big run, and it feels like big runs are kind of earmarked for other people right now in AEW, right? So like, is Cesaro gonna be happy as going there and being an enhancement talent, which is like always been the criticism, is that Cesaro is just only being used as an enhancement talent. Yeah, this is just a regular Coke. We already had Starlight Coke. I tried it. I my first sip I loved a lot, and then it got taxing the further it went on. It got intense. It was, I don't know, but I'll try it again. I'll try it again. Hi, Jeff. Oh, look at all these super chats. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Who's
everybody. Oh, who's at the door?
Yeah.
Arby's.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
got Arby's
great
for the kids, so they would be okay. Because I worked a lot yesterday, so they're pretty upset. I'm like, I gotta go do the show, so here's some Arby's, and now they're happy.
Well,
Mike was here like an hour ago.
Yes, I was here.
Oh, you were? Sorry. Yeah, I meant to tell you, and I just scheduled it, and I forgot.
But yeah, it's all right. I know it's been a busy week. I won't berate you too much. I have other things I plan to berate you about during the show.
Wonderful.
So,
all right. I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
I tweeted. Did you tweet?
I will. Hang on. I want to probably turn off that for you. Hang on. Let me get the audio set up.
Did he get Mod 6 sounds good. Jeff has 2 kids. I probably shouldn't say stuff like that. Jeff has 2 kids. His social security number is 269.
It's already out there. You're fine.
He lives on the top of a mountain.
Just good thing you turned my camera off. Just tried to take a drink out of this, and a cap is on. I meant to grab. This is my backup drink for when I finish this. Yeah, no, it was on there. It did. People did see.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm tweeting.
Well, maybe
now.
that was me demonstrating. I can't tell because I'm looking at the. That was just me demonstrating.
There's the Twitter.
Hi, chat.
Let's go. All right.
Like Jeremy writing a fake or maybe real social security number, and it's like automatically hidden from us.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm gonna go ahead and hide that, Jeremy. Oh, no, someone else.
No. Just show it. That's actually just 420691234.
Oh, I get it. It's funny. I didn't notice. I'm not a deviant sinner, so I didn't notice all the evil numbers.
You're not a sicko?
As Jeff answered why he was not following Mike, he claims he doesn't know. He was following me most of my life. Then all of a sudden I got a notification one morning. It was like, Jeff Grubb's now following you on Twitter. I was like, what the hell?
I was hoping he wouldn't notice. I was like, man, I'm going to just follow him and hope he just is too busy today to see this. And he noticed.
Jeff, did I upset you at some point? Did you unfollow me?
You probably said some real dumb shits. So yeah, probably.
Wow.
How excited, Chef, how excited did you got when you read that PC Gamer article?
Yeah, very excited because I spent a lot of time in the command line in Linux trying to get Dolphin to work, and it was not working, and I was getting a lot of errors. What up, dude? You need help with your juice? Okay, I'm gonna help with the juice, and we're gonna get started, everybody.
Dad, more RP sauce.
It's full of criminals, the internet. Be wary.
Not horsey sauce, Dad. Come on, Jeff. Ooh, we got a new tutorial here from May It Be from Lord of the Rings 1. Let's see if we can play May It Be.
Let's do
I
it.
don't know. It's in D. Let's see what
Lord of the Rings, the
just
first
going
one.
off of tabs.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay. All right. How are we doing?
Mike, are you excited for that show?
No.
No?
I mean, maybe it'll be good. I have no expectations. I'm not.
Okay.
There's that. There's the questions. Okay. I'm ready to go. You
Are
ready?
you ready?
Well, hang
Are
on.
you ready to...
Oh, hang on. Let's test this.
Okay.
What is it gonna be? They can hear it. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah, we can hear it.
All right. Well then,
Crazy.
with that in mind, I believe that we are ready to start. Let's do this thing.
Let's go and talk about White Ryu, because I love how white he is. That's the only news that matters.
We already talked about Wide Rio and Nintendogs.
No, you have to talk every day until it comes out. He's so wide.
He is still wide. He is still wide.
Okay.
All right.
Do the podcast.
5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything happening in the world of video games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is...
I like Minotti.
In today's episode, my voice is shot. I've been up all night playing Steam Deck, so I'm very tired, but also very excited because it's very good and I can finally talk about it and say how good it is. We got news, we got games. But first, Mike Minotti, how are you doing?
Tired and anxious, but glad the weekend is here.
Yeah, I wonder if like it's going to be better, with the world happening with a war in Ukraine is going to be easier to ignore on the weekend or harder to ignore.
Well, that's going to continue to be awful, but at least I can play more Elden Ring.
Yeah. I mean, I feel completely helpless with when this kind of stuff happens in the world, and we're going to do our show kind of as normal, everybody. But if you're affected, just know we're hoping for the best for you. We hope you stay safe. It's just
Zeppela got out, Jeff. I know that you were worried.
Yes, Zeppela got. Thank you for telling me repeatedly that Zeppela got out.
Jeff, I have an important question for you before we get started here.
Let's just do it. Yep.
Why do you believe that the Earth's crust is mostly made out of ants? Can I find this tweet?
Yeah, find the tweet. Yes.
So to be clear,
you're telling me that you believe earthquakes are caused by plates that you eat food off of? Ants are doing that.
Wait a sec. Wait, I gotta find this tweet. Right. I want to know if you actually believe this.
All right, read it.
Earth's crust is mostly made out of ants. Where's the
80%? I think is the number.
80%,
which is always the number you use if you really believe something. Absolutely.
I feel like you deleted this tweet in shame or something.
I would never.
I will not delete this.
I just tweet a lot. I tweet a lot, so it's gonna be hard for you to find.
I can't. But you said something like, how the Earth's crust is like 80% ants. That's what Elden Ring is like, but with proper nouns. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? With the Earth's crust being made mostly of ants. I can't believe that the guy whose wedding ceremony was like a verbal fellatio to science now believes that the Earth's crust is mostly made of ants. And when I say mostly, not 51%, like 80% ants. What the hell are you talking about?
This is something I truly believe. You will never dissuade me. I can't tell. Like, what I'm trying to figure out.
I had to Google it. Do you know how embarrassed I was to Google this? Nothing came up. Nothing came up. I was like, maybe he's just right. And I guess the Earth's crust.
There's nothing on the internet. Usually it's because someone's right. I don't know. Something about that, just that construction. Like, I was just going to say, like, I don't know what I was going to say. But then that thought occurred to me where I'm like, something about that sounds so stupid, and the construction of the sentence is so absurd, I can't help but tweet it. And I'm like, most people are probably just gonna think I'm dumb, but whatever. That's Twitter. I'll live with it. Mike, I do not really believe this. No, I do not.
Okay, all right, man. I tell you what, I'm kind of disappointed though, because I really hoped you did. I thought somebody.
I could tell, and I'm like, I should probably like let him have this, but I can't. This is my truth. Is that I listen. Birds aren't real, but the crust is not 80%. Yes. But the crust is not 80% ants. It's more
That's
like,
how plate tectonics work. They're moving around so much.
It's not like plates. Plates move around. I eat off plates all the time. They can't do shit to the earth. That's not how it works. Yes.
Well,
okay.
Right,
so we can get into this. I've been playing the Steam Deck. You know what? Let's do this first. Thanks. You can get more from me and Mike at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email us. games+podcast@VentureBeat.com. Thank you to Carlos Sain, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube for the use of our theme songs. If you're listening to this on the website player widget, you could subscribe to the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. It helps people find the show. We really appreciate it. It helps people find it while we're live. And then once we go to VOD, join the Discord. The link is in the description. It's discord.gg/GameMess. Thank you to our mods, who are very helpful in both the chat here and on the Discord. Support the show and us by going to patreon.com/GameMess. That gets you into the secret channels inside the Discord. Also gets you early access to our Jeopardy game, which we're going to do at least once a month. And it gets you the Q&A that I do in Discord once a month as well, which is going to be coming up probably this weekend. So look out for that. Okay. Mike, I got a list of stuff here, but the first thing I wrote down is Steam Deck reviews. Should we just talk about the Steam Deck now?
yeah, and if anybody has any questions about the Steam Deck or any other questions, send in the super chats. We could talk about Elden Ring probably right after this, really, but that is
Yes.
also that's out now, so maybe questions aren't quite as burning. But yes, Jeff, tell me about that Steam Deck. It seems like you like it a lot.
I love it. It's great. It's right here. It is very big, as many people have pointed out, but it is a real gaming PC. So it's not when I'm thinking about like, okay, in terms of how big is it, I'm more likely comparing it to like a gaming laptop rather than to a Switch. It has a full computer operating system. I can go into the desktop mode. I can get to the command line of Linux on this thing and just treat it like a full-fledged computer. So with that in mind, and then with the performance that you get, 60 frames per second in Resident Evil Village, just flat out, just it works perfectly.
That's pretty nuts. That's insane. That's a pretty intensive brand new game.
Brand new game. Elden Ring, much less optimized, but still, I when it was early in the review period, I was getting 35 frames per second. Now I'm getting closer to 45, 50 frames per second. It's very playable.
I mean, Elden Ring's not optimized for Series X in my experience either. So, like, you know.
But I've been playing. I played 20 hours of it on this thing, and I've had really no complaints. I mean, it is what it is in terms of performance and especially battery life. That's the one game that really shoots the battery life of the Steam Deck. It's around 100 minutes on a full 100% charge. Mike just went all wobbly in Discord. Let me see. Let me turn that off and back on, see if that can fix it. Mike, you still there? Am I still here? I think I'm still connected. I just think Mike has gone to the Phantom Zone. So I'm going to keep talking about the Steam Deck a little bit, and we'll see if he comes back. But if you're listening to the audio version, just know that his video just got smeared all to hell. Like he's back.
I've been back.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the first time I'm hearing you or seeing you.
I never left.
Oh, okay, fair enough. They must be on my side, but we aren't getting lost frames or anything, so could just be Discord weirdness.
Okay.
I am the thing about the Steam Deck that is the most standout is that it's not some minimum effort from Valve. They've done so much work in every regard to ensure that it is an excellent experience all around. That mostly means that yes, you boot up a game, it's going to probably run pretty well. Resident Evil Village is just one example. Metal Gear Solid 5 was 60 frames per second. I think Cyberpunk was like 45 frames per second, really solidly. That was kind of impressive too. But like every game that you can pretty much think of that is like a big new modern game is playable on here. But then you have all these options that are just built into the OS on the system level to customize the experience, to try to get more battery life if that's what you really care about. But even if you just kind of like let go and let God, you're going to get probably 2 hours at least from the biggest games. And then anything smaller is going to get you much more. Vampire Survivors was getting me 6 hours. And I've just been kind of really, really impressed. And it's just fitting into my life in the exact way I've always said I hope the Steam Deck would, where I could just kind of take it with me around the house, hang out with the kids and have them nearby. And I'm still able to play Elden Ring for 25 hours during a very busy week, something that just would never have happened in a pre-Steam Deck world. So I'm really blown away. Do you have any questions yourself that you want to ask?
Yeah, so have you played anything that would be like a real kind of like traditionally like mouse menu-y kind of a game, like a Civilization or something like that, where you're using those touchpads instead? And how do those touchpads feel?
So that is another thing where it's like there are very few sacrifices here in terms of like inputs. This has all of the inputs. You have a full Xbox suite of analog sticks and buttons, but then you have the two touchpads that you pointed out. You also have a touch screen, which works in video games as well. That works, so that's an option if you want to play games that way. I played a couple of like point and click, like Honey Pop style games and stuff like that. Not the one I'm thinking of is not called Honey Pop, but I also can't remember the name.
Honey Pop is the porn game we've been talking about, to be clear.
Yes. But I played another point and click porno game because it popped up on the Great on Deck thing where I'm like, someone at Valve tested this thing, and the first thing when you boot up this game is just a giant wiener. It was just like, all right, yeah, thank you, Valve, for doing the hard work. The touchpads work great. They are the one thing that may be a little bit difficult is clicking in on the touchpads when you're holding it. That feels a little bit awkward. Or if some games, sometimes it gets mapped to like the right trigger, and that's a little bit awkward as well. Hang on. So yeah, I think that the fact that you have every single style of input as an option here is another big win for this thing. I mean, it has gyro input if you want to use motion controls for your games. There's just like very few compromises other than it is a bit big and it is a bit heavy. And because of those things, you do get all of these input options. You do get a powerful enough console or system that it can handle modern games. So I think it was kind of the right. It was the right thing to like let off. Okay, we're gonna make it a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, but it is gonna be basically a real gaming computer.
Have you tried like playing any games that aren't from Steam on there yet, or anything like that, or has it just been all Steam stuff for you?
A little bit. I've begun kind of sniffing around to see like what that would entail. The thing came with Chrome installed. I think that if when it ships, it might not, but there is a one button option in the desktop mode, which I'm actually in right now, to install Chrome. And then from Chrome, you should be able to like find the Linux versions of most things, and they should just be kind of install if they come in the right packages. There's also a Discover store on here, and I just learned about this. And this store is like everything's free. It's all open source stuff, but Dolphin is just in there. Yuzu,
try that immediately.
Yes, I'm going to. Zemu is in there. The Xbox emulator, RPC S3 or whatever, the PlayStation 3 emulator, PlayStation 2 emulators. That's just in the store, ready to go for SteamOS, not for Windows. You can just get it for SteamOS, install it, and it's ready to go. There are some games like Cyberpunk that launches into the CD Projekt Red launcher. And that's probably pretty similar to how it would work. If I were to just to go get the CD Projekt Red launcher myself and install it, that would probably work exactly the same way. So it's like it's supported, ready to go. And then Valve also added a non-Steam tab, so that if you add things through a desktop, you can then just get them through your Steam OS interface afterward and not have to go to the desktop mode every time. So they're like trying to make sure that they have full support for some of that stuff. There are some issues with anti-cheat. That was a big problem with Elden Ring through most of the time, where I boot up the game, it would try to load easy anti-cheat. That wasn't supported because of the Proton layer that's doing the translation between Windows and Linux. There was a flaw there. So I was playing offline. In offline mode, it was working just fine. But since then, just today, they've uploaded their Proton translation to work better with a easy anti-cheat in Elden Ring specifically. So now you can play Elden Ring online on the Steam Deck, fully supported. It's like, that's the sort of thing I'm expecting in a lot of these cases, where even if something doesn't work right now, the amount of support that Valve is giving to this thing, the amount of effort they're putting into every aspect of it, really is encouraging me to believe that if it's a problem now, it probably won't be a problem for long. And this is before we even start talking about the community getting involved and building things for this system and building things for the Steam OS, which I think is going to be pretty huge.
You think this is going to be just in general a game changer? You think we're going to see a lot of PC developers thinking about Steam Deck as they create the PC versions of their games? Are we going to be seeing even less of like, oh, this is only on the Epic Games Store, because they know that they want to make sure the stuff is ready to go on Steam Deck and its successors that are bound to happen?
Yeah, I think so. I think that it is going to be the kind of thing where in probably like a year, most developers launching their games on Steam will be making sure that they are Steam Deck verified from the get-go. I mean, I really do think this has the potential to have a Switch-like effect on PC game sales, where, listen, this is not going to be a Switch-level seller. This thing is more expensive. It is harder to come by. You can only get it on Valve's Steam shop right now. It's going to take some time before it shows up in Target or Best Buy, and that's like a matter of years. And that's when you really get to that next level. But for the enthusiasts right now, I do expect many people to pick this thing up and be like, okay, everything I want to play from now on, I wanted to make sure that it works on Steam OS. Like, if a game doesn't work on Steam Deck, I might actually skip it and just wait until it does. It's that good of an experience, and it's and so much stuff does work that it'd be at a certain point very quickly. It's weird when a game comes out and it doesn't just function perfectly with Steam Deck.
Everyone should check out Jeff's review of this. That's on GamesBeat right now. And again, you guys have more questions, you can send them in on Super Chat. But Jeff, is there anything else you wanted to say before we maybe move on for a little bit here?
Yeah, I'm gonna real quick reset the Discord server thing. There we go. Okay. I don't know. I'll just say that in my review, I think I called it the best gaming PC ever, and I think what I mean by that is it's not the most powerful. but the sacrifices it makes are the right ones to get more people more comfortable with playing PC games. If this becomes your first gaming PC, I think you're going to have a real hard time going to any other form factor because it's just going to fit in your life so well. So, yeah, I'm super impressed. I don't think you need to wait for Gen 2, but I think Gen 2 of this is going to be it's going to be special. It's going to be that much better. But, you know, if you want to get this one right now, if you want to get the $400 version, which is one of the things I kind of touched a little bit on in the review, where everything is basically running off of SD card or eMMC memory instead of SSD, that is still super fast. Everything loads in a matter of seconds still. So if you want to get the $400 option, go get a big SD card and use that as your storage instead of a SSD. That's totally viable. And then the thing's only $400. And I can't, like, $400 for this device is absurd. It is absurd how much you are getting for that price.
Is this going to really hurt some of that that kind of, like, you know, handheld market that we've been seeing with all these people releasing these kind of expensive things? If people can just get a Steam Deck now, of course they maybe can't just get a Steam Deck, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I would have a very hard time recommending any other handheld gaming PC compared to. I mean, the Aya Neo is very good. It is like $1,300. It is very expensive compared to this, and it's not even as powerful, and it's not as streamlined. It's not as, like, thoughtful, and it doesn't have the full force of Valve behind it. And you know, one of the reasons Valve can sell this thing, which is it's definitely selling at a loss, is because they expect people to buy a lot of Steam games, and I think that is right. I think when people start playing games on this thing, they're going to end up purchasing more Steam games than they have before. There's going to be an uptick, and it's going to kind of pay for itself. So, yeah, I think this puts a harsh on the buzz of that market a little bit. But also, I think it might call to attention other sort of similarly sized companies. Like, I think Microsoft and Sony might kind of look at this and be like, we should probably figure out what our mobile gaming future looks like beyond the smartphone. Xbox probably should have had something like this already, is kind of my feeling. And
it's almost kind of surprising that they haven't done that, because they are certainly in a position to make something like that. And I wonder if it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've said internally that their mobile gaming strategy is to have game streaming on smartphones. Right. That is their handheld.
Yes, that's it.
And I think that's kind of a poor substitute for what this is.
Sure is. When I pick up how I feel about streaming.
Yeah, and it's like when I pick up my phone and I start playing a game on it, all I'm thinking about is how I'm wasting the battery of my phone playing a game, and I feel guilty and anxious about playing the game. When I pick up the Steam Deck, it is made for playing games, and it is invigorating to play games on it. You feel good about it, and that's like such a huge mental difference. It is very similar to like how the Switch. The way the Switch is set up to encourage you to just pick it up, start playing games. This is the same thing, and I think it's going to be kind of the Switch moment for PC gaming.
All right, Jeff, from one blockbuster review to another one, let's talk about Elden Ring, which is now one of the best reviewed games of all time. Our review was actually done by a freelancer from Jay Henningsen, right? Am I saying that right?
Yes, and
yes, and he gave it a 5 out of 5 for us. There's a lot of scores like that for it, and Jeff and I have been playing it not nearly as much, I would say. In fact, we did a video, Jeff, where we talked about impressions, and now I bet I sound comparatively down on the whole thing compared to some people.
Yes, and same here.
Reviews came out. That was my initial reaction. Was like, whoa! I didn't think this was gonna get like Breath of the Wild reviews, you know? Like,
right, me neither.
Something like that. And I was almost kind of taken aback and maybe even slightly indignant. And then yesterday I played a lot more. And even just from like that one more play session, I was kind of starting to see what maybe makes this game that kind of next level special. I'm like, maybe that is something here.
Yeah, Mike, the connection between you and me is just, it's messed up.
Something's wrong. Something is wrong.
Something's wrong. Can you... what is the number of bars that you're getting on Discord when it says your video connected? Because for me it says like it's like really good, 30 millisecond.
Yeah, it's like a 1 for some reason. I don't know why. 60, yeah, it's not good. I don't know why. Doesn't even matter how hard I try to keep that in mind. I designed this around. What do you want me to? Should I just reset maybe real quick?
What's that?
Should I restart? I don't know.
Yeah, probably. You should probably restart. I got this freaking out kid anyhow.
Hang on. Oh no.
Hang on, everybody. Sorry, we're gonna take a quick break. All right, I'm gonna go deal with her.
Chat, can you hear me? Oh shit. Okay.
Okay,
Let's
here
talk
I
about
am.
White Ryu.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
he's
talk
really
about White
white.
Ryu now.
Yes. It's
All
White
right.
Ryu, man.
White Ryu.
So
Yeah,
you're an
whatever.
ant.
I grew up saying Ryu. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I come out with a name for the chef. He's an ant earther. You know, he believes 80% of the earth crust is made of ants. So
All right, let's bring the video back. What do you think is wrong with Mike? I think it's just
I don't know what's wrong with Mike. Well, there's a lot of stuff wrong with Mike.
Well,
I don't know
yeah.
what's wrong with his internet connection.
Yeah.
He was having issues last podcast too.
That's
yeah, you're
true.
right. You're right. He was having issues, huh?
Maybe all he needs
Well,
is
he
a
has a
restart.
lot of issues, but yeah, he was also having issues with
Oh yeah, Mike Minotti has a lot of issues. We know that. This is not new.
He constantly talks about that Zepla lady.
Yeah, Pablo Cost is right. We need a wide Karnov. He's already pretty wide, but he could be wider.
He could be. Oh, he could be so wide.
He could be so
Yeah.
wide.
He could be
Guest
like
character.
Matthew Rory screen wide, like all envelop, like all around you, wide.
Oh man.
Oh,
But-
is Ryu eventually going to go like curve because he's gonna become so
he's-
wide?
Right. Yeah, all light will be attracted. Like no light can escape from his gravitational wideness. Yeah.
What
All
the hell
right.
are you talking about?
We're not talking
Karnov.
about Ryu. We're not talking. We never would. Because we already talked about it on
Karnov.
Kid Dogs. So.
And the
Um,
incredible Karnov fighting game everyone loves.
Yes, everyone loves that.
Okay, it's yes. So
Looks good now.
yeah, you look pretty good now.
Yeah.
I am. Let me just get Abby Hatcher on,
Yeah.
please.
Discord started an update when I did that, so maybe there's just some weirdness with an old version or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? Well,
It had been a while since I restarted my computer too. I'm not gonna lie; it's been running probably a bit too
I
long.
think that we're probably good now. Okay. Let's get back into it. So we were.
Been up we were talking about Elden
Yeah,
Ring. I was
let's just-
talking about how
You were warbly the whole time. Let's just restart the Elden Ring segment.
Okay, we'll start it again. I can
okay.
do this.
But yeah, Mike, that's the Steam Deck for me. What else came out this week?
Yeah, the little game called Elden Ring came out, which is one of the best review games of all time. Our review is actually done by freelancer Jay Hennison, who actually does a lot of editing for us. But
Yes,
he's such
and for years and years. I was looking. His last review for us was in 2015. So I'm glad to get him back on the site.
Well, you said he was like the first person who told you about Dark Souls or
Demon Souls
excuse me,
or
back,
PlayStation
the first
3.
one.
Yeah.
So, but he's playing. But Jeff and I have also had codes, and we've been playing it.
Yes, we have.
Jay gave it a 5 out of 5. He absolutely loved it. And it seems like all the Souls fans really love it. Jeff and I, we're not like giant Souls fans. I think we've each both played one game to completion. I've beaten Bloodborne, you beaten Sekiro, right?
That's right. And I really like Sekiro a whole bunch. It was near my game of the year, the top of my game of the year list that year, like 2 or 3 or something like that. It's very good.
Mm-hmm. And I guess like starting Elden Ring at first, I was like, man, this sure is a lot like the Dark Souls still. And I was like, part of me is like, I wonder what people were going to react to. This is just more Dark Souls. And
Same.
I'm realizing that I was kind of doing things wrong, or maybe I don't know if that was my fault or the game's fault. I think it was my fault because there is a critical path in the beginning, and I think I got stuck on that critical path. And I was playing it like Dark Souls, and I should have much earlier than I did just gone off and explore and wander around instead of being stubborn and trying to like beat a boss. And then when I couldn't do that, just going back to some place I already been to and grinding for a while. Like that's really not what you're supposed to. Even the game, pretty shortly, like right after that moment, the critical path then points you sort of across a giant ocean, which makes it pretty clear, like, I can't just actually follow that right now, anyways. And so we did that video yesterday with me. You talked about it, and I probably sound more down on it than I already am today from just yesterday playing it a lot more yesterday. Really exploring around a lot more, just kind of figuring some more things out and just kind of understanding how gigantic this world is.
Yeah, I'm right there with you where I feel like I was like, I was like hesitant about it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure people will like this, but I think that maybe there's a chance that the Dark Souls fans will be like, oh, is it more of the same? It's not as different as I thought it would be. And that was, 15 hours in. Now that I'm like, I'm a few hours later, 20, 25 hours in, I've begun just kind of getting into the flow of it, of getting into that exploration that you were talking about, where it's like, if I am having trouble with the boss, it's fine. I could learn it. But I think a big part of this game is just backing off and then going out and exploring the world. Chances are you might find something that's going to help, or at the very least, you're going to get a couple of levels, and it's a fun way to grind while also discovering so much beautiful stuff. Like, the aesthetic design of this world is incredible. It's not exactly my vibe, but every time I see a new place and it's just kind of this stunning, gorgeous, gothic looking landscape, it really does blow me away. I think it's incredible looking.
I think that's another thing I was down on at first. Like, aesthetically, the game is often not exactly my jam, and I do think it could be a bit bloomy, a little hazy, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then performance, I'm still kind of stuck on performance a bit on Series X, at least, where I'm not really getting a steady 60 frames per second. And at first, it's like, oh, maybe it's because I'm playing on online mode, and so I turned that off. Even then, it's not like buttery smooth. Seems like that might be better on PlayStation 5, actually.
Yeah, but if you have variable refresh rate, excuse me, like G-Sync or whatever it is, FreeSync, apparently it's much better with that turned on. What kind of TV do you have?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Some Sony thing.
Okay. Sony might have FreeSync. I don't know. You might want to look around the settings.
I should have to turn on weird. I'll tell you what, I never had to turn on a TV option before to improve my frame rate. I don't know.
You're right. But it is a good TV option. It's not like some joke thing. It actually makes a big difference in all games. But I understand what you're saying. That this is like something your TV could fix and not the game itself. But I'm not too hung up on the performance, especially playing on Steam Deck, where I'm like, this is better than good enough. I'm very happy with this. It hasn't really, it has an impact. It is a little weird though to be like, this actually, in some ways to me, this looks worse than, say, of course, like the Demon Souls remake, but it looks worse than Sekiro was looking when I was doing like that FPS boosting on Xbox a little bit ago. Yes, I mean, I think a lot of people are just kind of used to From games coming out a little bit broken and are giving them a bit of a pass on that. I think that From it gets graded on its own scorecard, where it's like, listen,
sure,
the enemies, they aren't really going to have AI. They're not really going to be moving around trying to find you. They are just going to be these pawns that stand still until you kind of walk right in front of them, and then that gives them aggro, and then you fight them from there, and they're going to be very difficult. And that's what these games are. So it'd be weird to be like, oh, the enemies are stupid. Well, that's not the point. It's not why anyone's coming here. It's not supposed to work that way. So you are grading From on their own scorecard, and on their own score, like, they are doing so much of what they've done better than ever. And this world is incredible to explore. And it's incredible to explore in a way that most other games are not. I'm not going to be the first one to say this. I'll still get yelled at about it. There's definitely some Breath of the Wild in the world design, in terms of like, you're going to look and see something interesting, you're going to go to it, and it is going to be interesting. And that is the game. It's going from one interesting looking thing to the next. Right.
And I talked about this a bit with just Horizon coming out a little bit ago, how it's, a map game and it's all about these icons, and how that's like the opposite of Breath of the Wild. And this is that same thing where, it really is just about exploring, and you'll see something interesting and I'll just want to go there because there probably is something there. Mm-hmm. And there will be. And what's nice is that it's not always something you can predict or expect. Like in a map game, like a Far Cry or Horizon, it's like, well, here's an enemy base. I sure know what that's going to be, right? Or here's a radio tower.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what that's going to be. Here, it's like, I don't know what's going to be here. And sometimes just going over there, you stumble across something almost more weird and interesting than that. And that could be like an item. It could be the entrance to a dungeon. It could be entrance to this giant underground area. It could be just a whole nother boss that you weren't expecting to just suddenly show up on some bridge or in some lake. And those moments are really cool. Those moments are fantastic.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of like Shigeru Miyamoto talking about going out in Kyoto or whatever it was when he was a kid, and going to the mountainside and finding caves and exploring caves. And it's like, and he wanted to turn that into a game, so he made Zelda 1. It feels very much in that same lineage, where it's just like Go out, explore this world. Something weird is going to happen, and usually, if something big and scary happens, you're going to get usually a pretty interesting reward for dealing with it or figuring out a way to overcome it. So it's like, it's nailing that loop. I'm really coming around on it, especially compared to that first conversation that we had.
Yeah, and that was the big difference between that conversation and now is doing that exploring and seeing just how much there is in this world where it's, people talk about, oh, this world feels empty, blah blah blah. This is almost more densely packed than I would say even a Breath of the Wild, if that matters, but it still is so big and open that doesn't feel like congested or anything like that.
Right. It's probably doing the best version of what you and I often talk about of like, we don't care that a world feels empty. This world doesn't even really feel empty, like you were just saying. But it also gives you the chance to get that. I am going to go across a vast expanse, and something might not happen for a few minutes. But there's like obvious options all to the side that could draw my attention, and there's going to be that cadence of things like calming down and riding the horse across this field, and then finding a giant all of a sudden, and then suddenly being in a massive duel, and having those ups and downs really helps with the pacing in that open world. And then I find that when you do get into something like Stormville Castle, which is I'm at the end of that right now. They're dense, and there's a lot of different paths, and there's it feels like a Dark Souls game again.
Yes.
And then it's also not super long. It's not like this long, it's not like strung out over like 10 hours. It's like if you kind of keep at it, like you're going to be doing the same things over and over as you figure out how to overcome these enemies. But suddenly you're going to be like, oh, I'm already at Godric the Grafted. This is okay. I'm already here. That's awesome. I feel like I'm making progress pretty swiftly. And so like for me, I'm like, oh, is this game going to fly by? And then you hear, oh, people are playing this game for 80 hours and just barely beating it at that time. Like, this game must be massive.
But it's great. Like, I was doing that castle too, but because the world's so big, so in that castle, I got a little bit sort of stuck at that part where you fight that one thing with all the arms, the thing that like kills you in the beginning of the game, right? Like if you see it again there, I still couldn't really beat it, and I didn't know if I really just wanted to sneak by him yet or not. But like, because the world's so big, I have all these other different,
Yes.
fast travel points. I'll just go there and I'll just explore around that general area again. And there's a zillion things to see out there. And there's a million like bosses to come across. There's a million other forms of progression you can discover. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing where you can get a tip from a friend and be like, okay, go check out this cave.
Right.
If you go in there and you do the thing, you're going to find something that could be very helpful in a boss fight. But on the way to doing that, hang on, this kid, I feel like she's going to unplug my computer.
Don't do that. Please, no. We need that.
We need that. Hey, what okay, so now she's putting random candy in her mouth. Yeah, you found a numb. I see it. This kid.
Found a numb.
Yep. Yeah, and so it's like I'm so ready to like just kind of keep talking about it with people, saying, hey, I am having trouble with this. Any ideas? It's like, well, I found this thing out there, and I'm like, okay, I'll go explore, and then I will use that as my excuse to like just everything that looks interesting, at least maybe like make note of it on the map or something like that, and then come back to it later or just explore it right then. It gives you those options in terms of how you approach it that I really appreciate.
All right, Jeff, you were all about trying to predict what's going to be the best-selling game of February. Do you think, I guess this is essentially how much the review scores matter. They have to matter at least a little bit. Do you think there's any more likely of a chance that Elden Ring's number one? Like, yeah, I was saying all along.
Yeah, I think it's very likely now. I mean, those Steam numbers were as big as they probably could have been. I don't know what it finally topped out at. I had to stop paying attention, but it was like 700,000 concurrents. That is enormous. That is huge. Those numbers will be counted, and Pokemon's digital sales will not be counted. So my guess here is that Elden Ring probably does come out on top. This is their real coming out party. This game is... I mean, you can't deny those review scores. You can't deny the hype. You can't deny the concurrent numbers. This is just a cultural moment now, in a way that From Games kind of were always approaching this. They were always sort of heading in this direction, and now we're here.
Yes. Now, Jeff, I don't really understand From Software's like corporate situation here, but with all the acquisitions and everything going on, here's a company that is probably going to be as valuable as it may ever be at a point where acquisitions are just going nuts right now. You think there's going to be any discussions there?
I think there are going to be. I think there probably already are some. I think like PlayStation has probably always wanted to keep their options open with From, like, hey, we want to keep them close and be able to pounce if we need to. And you know, Kadokawa owns, or at least is like has a controlling interest in From. The parent company. But you know, you have to, at a certain point, From is going to be probably so appealing that someone's going to pay the money for the entire business.
Big payday for Kadokawa, right?
Yes,
I mean, they won't be upset about that.
Right, it should be either a big exit or, like, you know, you get acquired and you get a big payday as well, one way or the other. So I think so. I just wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this year we hear something like happening with that. But you know, at the same time, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just difficult enough, or Kadokawa was like, oh, I think the next game could be even bigger, and in which case maybe it doesn't happen. I don't know, but
at some point there's going to be an Elden Ring too, and
yes.
that's going to be a very, very big deal.
Yep. Okay. Let's get into the rest of the news. Let's do this rundown.
Let's do the things Jeff talked about on Grubstack's yesterday segments.
Yes. So Obsidian might be in very early talks to work on a Fallout New Vegas 2. That's how I would describe. Like, this is one where I'm like, I don't even know if I would want to necessarily write a story about this because it's so early. I just kind of wanted to, like, bring it up, but of course it became the biggest story on Grubstacks. It's like hard to control. It's impossible to control that stuff. But yeah, I will say that the conversations seem to be beginning about, hey, we have Fallout New Vegas 2, Obsidian, you're right there. Once you get through the many projects that you are working on at the time, do you think you might want to do that? And it sounds like everyone involved is like, yeah, probably. What do you think about this?
I mean, we talked about this from the beginning and how it makes a lot of sense. The problem is that Obsidian is also very busy. They have Avowed, Grounded is still happening. There's the sequel to The Outer Worlds and like something else even I think I'm maybe forgetting. But even then, they could probably still get around to Fallout faster than Bethesda, proper can with, finishing up Starfield and then doing all of that work on the Elder Scrolls 6, which is going to be a lot of work.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, I hope this happens. I think it makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't be surprised if something else Fallout happens first from another team, but I
think somebody to remake 3 or 4, or even just do a really nice compilation remaster thing of 3 in New Vegas.
I mean,
like that.
You could even have like a smaller team come and do like a throwback style sequel to Fallout 2 and like start like a second lineage. It's like a top down thing and just sort of be like, okay, something's happening in Fallout.
I doubt.
Yeah, maybe.
I know what you mean. But something smaller, sure. But I don't think they're ever going to make a game like Fallout 2 again.
Well, I mean, I just think they have like In Exile and those teams that have done those things recently. You're probably right. I'm just like trying to think the possibilities are open for how to keep Fallout happening while we wait for the next big real Fallout. All right.
One more question about that. When you say New Vegas 2, do you literally mean like another game set in Vegas, or you just mean Obsidian making another Fallout game?
I mean, I think the conversation's so early that there's no real definition there, but I think it would probably be more like a spiritual successor, a spiritual Fallout, not necessarily following the same characters, but maybe going back to the same location and then maybe still taking place in New Vegas.
Right. Most of the locations Fallout is taking place in, I would be like, well, you don't need to revisit that. But Vegas was a very good location for a Fallout game, and there would still be I'd be interested to see what that looks like in 2025 in a way I don't necessarily need to see Washington D.C. again.
Agreed. All right, so PlayStation is probably going to be launching its upgrade for PlayStation Plus that is codenamed Spartacus pretty soon. I've heard rumors of a date involving February 28th, something's going to happen. It might be internal. We probably won't hear about it, but that means things are going to be coming to a head pretty soon. And that means things are getting close, and I'm starting to hear details about the structure of what Spartacus is. It's going to be 3 tiers, or at least this is what the plan is. Recently, things could still change, but the plan is at the moment 3 tiers, where the bottom one we call PlayStation Plus Essential. It is $10 per month. You get monthly games. It is pretty much still just the PlayStation Plus that you already have today. Then there is PlayStation Plus Extra. That is $13 per month, and that gets you let's see, that one gets you the monthly games and also a downloadable game catalog of around 250, 300 games. I think these are the games that are on PlayStation Now that are downloadable now, and they would just be shuffled over here as well. I don't know what the future of PlayStation Now as a standalone thing is. I don't have the answer to that, but it's going to be pretty weird to coexist next to these things, but maybe Sony has an answer to that stuff. And then there is PlayStation Plus Premium. This will get you everything in the top 2 tiers, and then it also gets you classic games, gets you game trials, and it gets you streaming. So now you could stream from the cloud and play classic games. I don't know what those classic games are, although I don't think it's a coincidence that the classic games are in the streaming tier. I know.
God damn it, Jeff. That's what I wanted to ask. Shit.
I hope that's wrong. I hope I'm making an assumption there, but I'm like, it feels like classic games should probably be in that extra tier. I don't know why it wouldn't be unless you need to have streaming. But then you also get, you get game trials, Mike. Game trials.
I'm so tired of people acting like streaming is already this perfect, like, primetime solution. It still has so many problems. It is still so unideal. People are like, well, we can just do that because that's just as good. The fact that Kingdom Hearts released in that cloud version, like, that should be illegal. What that did.
That's actually very true. I mean, you're right. I think, I guess is it better than nothing? I don't know. At a certain point, maybe not. But
to me, it is nothing. I'm not going to play cloud versions of these classic games that require classic inputs and stuff.
PlayStation
like that.
1 and 2 games probably won't be cloud only, but PlayStation 3
I would hope not.
PlayStation 3 probably will be.
A lot of stuff's already been on the cloud, right? Like, it was on PlayStation Now at some point.
Right, exactly. I mean, it is right now, I think. So it's just kind of now you get it in this tier that if you were to have PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, well, now this top tier is $16 per month, so it's cheaper. And you also now get game trials. And this seems like the trying to find the wiggle room between being Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, where you get big games from Microsoft first party, day and date, day one, and kind of like what they were doing before, where they're like, oh, well, we're going to hold these games off and maybe we'll put them in the game catalog eventually. So game trials, pretty similar to EA Play. I believe you will get a certain amount of time to play these new games, and then if you purchase them, you'll just continue that save and keep playing them. I don't know if this super moves the needle, but it is better than what they were doing, and it is closer to Game Pass, even if it's not fully. Yeah, but I mean, I just think most people on Game Pass download a game, play it for a couple hours, and then never play it again. That happens all the time. So
sure, but there's reality and then there's optics, right?
You're right.
Right. I agree with you. I think most people do that, but people are still going to be like, wow, game trials instead of the full games. What a jip. I mean, to me, the classic games is basically the driving force here. So it really does just matter to me what that looks like and how those are delivered to me.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how they, really come down to present all this, how they try to sell it. Like, I have these numbers for like the monthly cost. Again, these numbers could change, but if they don't, are there still yearly discounts? If I get PlayStation Plus Premium for a whole entire year, can I pay less money, or are they getting rid of that option? If they do, they're going to have to deal with the backlash on the fact that PS Plus hasn't really changed on its most basic $10 per month plan, and yet now people can't pay like $40 per year instead. They're going to have to pay $120 a year, and that's tripling the price. They're probably not going to do that, but I haven't heard like what the yearly numbers might be for some of these things. So there's a lot of stuff to consider. There's a lot of stuff to present and answer to, but the stuff does seem to be like meeting an inflection point where they're getting ready to announce it. I think we'll probably hear about it in March, but we'll see.
Well, we think everyone's saying there's going to be a state of play in March. We'll probably hear about that. Maybe we'll hear about PlayStation VR 2 more, and I'm sure there'll be another God of War blowout, and maybe hear about a couple other things. Yeah,
you're right. And as you're speaking of PSVR 2, they showed the new design of the new PSVR 2. It looks like a PSVR. It looks very comfortable, just like the original one. And it looks spiffy. Yeah, it looks expensive. I think it looks premium. I'm very impressed. I'll be excited to give it a try, especially that it seems much easier to connect and set up. I very rarely ever set up my PSVR because it's like I just didn't want to go through the hassle. Being able to just plug this thing in and go will be very nice.
Right. It was a good VR headset. It had some good games, but like plugging it in, it looked ugly with a zillion cables, and then I never wanted to plug it in again after I unplugged it.
Yep. Let's see. Christian Daly has left BioWare. Christian Daly was the executive producer of Dragon Age 4. He's been at BioWare since 2018. Worked on a few of the projects recently. But he's left the project, just like a bunch of other high-profile names have left Dragon Age 4. Does this mean Dragon Age 4 is in trouble? No. Everything I'm hearing internally is everyone's very happy with the state of that game and it's meeting its milestones. And, the word is it's fine. It's doing great. It'll probably still meet its time frame of coming out at least 18 months from now. So late next year, maybe at the earliest. Okay. And then Hooked on You, a Dead by Daylight dating sim got trademarked, which I told Mike and Rachel about this and they were both like, ew. I'm like, oh, okay. To me, it sounds kind of fun. Like dating the monsters from a horror film sounds like fun. I don't know. And you're just like, nope, no, sir, I won't have it.
No, thank you. No, yeah, I'm the horse from Mississippi. No, sir, I don't like it.
No, sir, I don't like it. I don't know. I have never played Dead by Daylight, so I don't know. But I bet that fandom will be into this. Okay, let's get into some of the other news from this week. Street Fighter 6 got announced. There was a wide Ryu. We talked about this on Nintendogs. We don't have to go over it again here too much, but I don't know. Any other final thoughts on Street Fighter 6, Mike? Or
there's not much to say. We just gotta see more of it soon, which is apparently coming in the summer, so around E3 time.
Rachel said that she wants me to tell people what she said about the game. She said that she had been working on a story about game development in Ukraine all day and how it was a pretty depressing story considering the state of what everyone has to deal with there. And she's like, and yet Hooked on You, a Dead by Daylight dating sim is the worst thing I've read today. I'm like, okay, wow, Jesus, Rachel, murder a game. Why don't you?
Good.
Okay. Bethesda is going to close the Bethesda launcher in April. At a certain point, Microsoft just has too many launchers happening, right? They have this, they have Battle.net coming, they have the Windows Store, they have the Xbox app. One of these was going to go away. This makes sense.
In general, everybody, there was that huge wave. Everybody has their own launchers for a bit there, and everyone hated it, and it was obnoxious. And that's already been receding, right? Like Ubisoft's thing has been lessening, and they have a lot of the games just on Steam now. So even without just the whole, Microsoft, why would Microsoft need 3 or 4 launchers? This stuff was going to happen to a point where it will just be basically Steam and Epic Games, which it already kind of is.
Right. Microsoft and Bethesda are going to enable people who have made purchases on the Bethesda Game Store to transfer their stuff to Steam. So they're like, hey, we're just going to be using Steam going forward. If you bought a game, you could transfer it and continue to own your games there. They will keep Bethesda.net accounts going because that's how they manage mods for the console versions of the game. So that's good to know that they're going to keep that going. I was happy to see that. Twitch integration has launched for Xbox again. It feels like that happened years ago, and then they sort of deprecated that when they started doing more with Beam.pro, which is what I always want to call it, Mixer. And now they're back. Pro. Yeah, now they're bringing back Twitch integration. So you just hit a button, and it's really easy to get started. I see you. What's up? What do you need? Okay. Hey, I'm on the phone. Okay, I'll talk to you in a bit. Okay, kiddo? All right. Let's see, Shadow Warriors 3 is coming to PlayStation Now on day one. This is like a weird sort of hiccup where it's like, okay, Spartacus is coming, but all of a sudden now they're putting games out on PlayStation Now PlayStation Plus on day one, day and date, just like Game Pass does. I don't know if this is sort of like a vestige of what they were going to do before they decided what to do with Spartacus, or if this is somehow part of the new plans of Spartacus. To me, this is kind of weird. I'm like, why not just do it as a PS Plus game?
Yeah, I agree. I have no idea. It's weird.
And then this happened during Grubb Snacks, and I haven't been able to catch up on it because I immediately went and started working on the Steam Deck review.
Yeah.
They acquired SRD, which they've worked with for a very long time. Do you know more about this?
SRD has literally worked with them for since the NES era, and I think their offices are even in Nintendo Japan headquarters. So how did they not own these people? That's what's always so weird with trying to predict who Nintendo's going to buy. Apparently, Nintendo is going to buy a company that has worked exclusively with them since the NES era, that has the offices in their building. What? How did they? Maybe somebody just noticed an accounting error. We don't know these people, own these people. Wouldn't it be weird if Microsoft bought them? Let's get that going.
Tencent comes in. Hey, we're gonna buy. What? No, we own that. We don't own that. Yeah. All right.
Oh my God.
It's weird. like you say, they've worked with Nintendo since the NES days. They've worked on Mario games, like they've worked on the first Mario games and Zelda games. They've worked on so much stuff that it's just like core Nintendo. This one makes sense. But of course, it's also part of that. These studios could probably sell right now for quite a bit of money. So Nintendo's just like, we'll just pay the money. We'll just acquire you.
Yeah, I mean, it probably almost sucks for them because again, it's not like Nintendo's really getting anything out of that per se, except protecting their ass a little bit here. But nothing's going to change for consumers, that's for sure. It's not exactly exciting.
Let's see. Pokemon Presents is set for Sunday at 2 p.m. UTC, which I don't know what time that is for human beings, but I just put this into the Game Mess calendar on the Discord. So if everyone wants to catch up over there, you can check out the Discord Game Mess calendar. What are they going to talk about here? The DLC?
Probably DLC for Arceus, I imagine, right? Like that'll be
selling a ton. I'm sure they're ready to tell people, here's how you can spend more money.
Yeah, that must be. I mean, I don't think we're going to get Gen 9 yet.
Do we get Pokemon Sleep?
You get something like Pokemon Sleep. Like there'll be some kind of a new game, but I don't think it's going to be like they're not going to talk about the sequel to Sword and Shield yet.
You're definitely like. They've been releasing Pokemon games at the end of the year for quite some time, but now we just got Arceus, and right before that we got BDSP, so it feels like we're probably not going to get, like you said, Gen 9 by the end of this year. There's probably going to be a little bit of a break.
Maybe if something like the Let's Go Gold and Silver games, maybe.
Right, okay.
But yeah, maybe they kind of ride Arceus a little bit here.
I included this one, Mike, for you. Final Fantasy XIV is getting a graphical update. I thought it looked like a pretty good game, but it's going to look like an even better game.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it is, but it was also a game designed initially to run on PlayStation 3s, right?
Right, okay.
Jeff, I also think it looks good, but I mostly played World of Warcraft, which is literally a game from
right, okay, good point, yeah.
Right? And that game also had, like, its big graphic updates, like, at different times. So these things are kind of expected, and it's going to start rolling out slowly throughout kind of the sort of patch cycle here leading into the next expansion sort of. So it's good. We're going to be getting better lighting, some better character models and stuff like that. So this time in a few years, it'll look like a significantly better game, which is good. It's good that they're putting that work in and they're being very clear that this game is getting at least another 10 years of support. And that's kind of what this is about, is setting the foundation for that next 10 years.
Try to look around and see like what graphics cards I will be able to like put up on the shelf permanently after I get done like with that, like the generational testing. Probably pretty. I mean, try to think. You have a pretty old Titan. I would imagine a 3070 Ti would probably be more powerful, significantally more powerful than that.
Sounds like good numbers. Yeah. Give them.
So I think probably not by the. Maybe by the end of this year, I could maybe get you, because who knows? EVGA or someone might send me another one. So if I can, I'll send you something like that, and it'll
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll just get patient and buy my own thing. I don't know.
It belongs to GamesBeat, but I'll see what I could do.
I work for GamesBeat,
but you work for GamesBeat, so there you go. Okay. Let's see here. I think. Oh no, one more story. Square said that Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, despite strong reviews, did not meet its initial expectations.
My take on this is maybe unpopular-ish, and I understand like Square Enix it does always beat this drum a lot. It is weird, but does anybody think that this game like sold really, really well? Right? Like this isn't a surprise.
I think a lot of people are just ready to pounce on Square Enix doing this again. Or they've done it. Sure. And they always do it with their Western developed games, right? But right. I mean, I told people in December it underperformed. It only sold like around 1 million to 1.5 million copies by December, and that was a disappointment, like kind of on any measure. So yeah, I'm not surprised by this at all, and I think that in this case, Square's probably right to have expected a little bit more than what it did. But at the same time, Square Enix probably was expecting even like significantly more.
Sure, I'm sure that their expectations were still somehow stupid, even though like you think they would know that Avengers was going to hurt this, and which is exactly what happened.
Yeah, right. This one's paying for the sins of the father and all that stuff. So, right. This is not too surprising to me, but I think people are probably just like ready to like say, okay, Square Enix, for once, just blame something bad on one of your Eastern studios instead. Okay.
Eastern Studios make Final Fantasy 14, Jeff. In fact, I saw that they raised their projections because of their MMO revenue.
They also make Left Alive, so and Balan Wonderworld. I guess that's not one of their.
To be fair, I think they were pretty clear that Balan Wonderworld sucked. I think they also buried that one pretty heavily.
Okay. They, you know what though? While that was happening, they were. I mean, of course, they were louder about Avengers. Avengers was more of a failure than even Balan Wonderworld, but whatever.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Final Fantasy Origins, right? Like, what are their expectations for that?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Mike, that does it for the news. If anyone else wants to ask any questions about what happened this week, feel free to do so in a super chat, which Mike is going to begin reading right now.
Yes, nothing's going to make me happier than reading these super chats.
Woo.
Uriel Delgado says, what franchise do you think Nintendo will try to do next as a movie? Probably Donkey Kong. Would like to see some kind of Fire Emblem story adapted. I feel like Fire Emblem would just lend itself better to an anime series, right? Like make a Netflix deal for that. I mean, Donkey Kong will probably just be next. I mean, if not that, I don't know. Like at some point, they're going to want to do something with Zelda, right? I feel like that's even scarier to them than doing a Mario, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's I think they're going to be cautious and kind of move forward slowly. I think that Fire Emblem is one that makes a lot of sense to just sort of maybe test around because that's not like a high risk franchise. If you mess up that franchise, most people aren't going to notice. But if you make a really bad Zelda, it's going to be kind of associated with that franchise for forever. So yeah, I think they'll mess. I think they'll you know, Donkey Kong and all that stuff. They'll keep doing that, especially if this Mario movie is very successful. But once they start getting into these more serious ones, I think Zelda's going to take a little bit more time to convince them that that's a good idea.
I mean, we just might see like a Luigi's Mansion movie, or we know how much Miyamoto loves Pikmin, and he experimented before the short. So I think it's going to be something cuter and less anime-ish than a Fire Emblem, where even like a Zelda. I know Zelda anime maybe doesn't make a lot of sense, but you know what I mean.
Yes, totally.
Ariel Delgado says, okay, so in his last one, Ariel Delgado said Nintendo, but just abbreviated it NIN. And now he says, do you have a favorite NIN song? I Lay Closer. This time, I assume he means Nine Inch Nails, which I'm not super up on, Jeff. I don't know. Do you have a favorite Nine Inch Nails song?
I mean, I'm basic, so I like that Johnny Cash cover of Hurt. Like
I was about to say, I know that they did the original Hurt, but I don't like that. I like the Johnny Cash Hurt.
I like the original Hurt too. Like, I mean, Nine Inch Nails is very good, but it's not like they were a bit too extra. Is that the word? They were too extra when I was growing up, and I was like, I'm a pretty happy kid. I'm having a good time in life. My family loves me and takes care of me. I don't need to be sort of goth or anything like that. And it's like, so I kind of always felt strange, like listening. I felt like a poser, so I didn't listen to it too much.
Right. That's like with Linkin Park. Like all their songs are about how they don't like their parents and stuff. So back then I didn't care. Now I'm like, this stuff's great. Yeah. But I'm sure in like a few years I'm going to discover Nine Inch Nails and really get into it finally. But right now I don't have a strong opinion. Kung Fu Hot Dog says, hi, Jeff. Enjoyed your Steam Deck review. Sounds like you two need to get a room. You and the Steam Deck, not me and you. Gents, does Elden Ring have that replay value? Will Modern Warfare 2 have paid DLC? So let's first Elden Ring. Sure, because first off, it's such a giant game. Right. You can start it with a different class. You can do different builds. You can do a magic build. You can do a hybrid build. Things like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think people are gonna like. There's so many different ways to crack this nut of Elden Ring in terms of just building your character or progressing in the world and stuff. It seems like there is a critical path that you have to do, but I think if you do kind of like a couple things, after that you could just go to the end of the game. Is kind of what I've heard. So it's like, all right, so they are kind of doing the Zelda thing again, the Breath of the Wild thing, and it's like, okay, in that world, sort of anything is possible, and I'll be very excited to see like what the speed runs look like, and people are gonna play the hell out of this thing.
So then the second part here, will Modern Warfare 2 have paid DLC? I mean, I assume so, right?
Well, like microtransactions stuff. Like
I don't know how those. Yeah, like how have those been working for that series? Actually, I'm not super sure.
Well, they haven't had map packs for a long time, and I'm like, but they've had like skins, weapon skins, and all this stuff. So that's how they've been doing their microtransactions. I guess, is that what you mean by paid DLC? I guess I would need a definition from you, but
I'm sure there's going to be something that people are going to be able to
It'll be
buy.
very, very monetized. Yes, if that is your question. It's not like
just because Microsoft owns it, they're going to be like, good guy, wave the wand, like everything's free. That's not going to happen.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Grant Taylor says, hi, guys. Mike, you live in the third best city in Ohio. Jeff, if you're going to move here, come to Cincinnati, where the chili is good and our water doesn't catch on fire. Seriously, though, you guys are the best. Look, everybody loved it when Cleveland's lake caught on fire, right? That was fantastic. That was a good time was had by everybody.
It builds character for the city. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I actually lived in Columbus for 15 years, or the suburbs of Columbus during that time. So Columbus is fine. I don't know if I've traveled to Cincinnati a couple times. I don't know if I love Cincinnati. It's a bit too close to like Kentucky and stuff like that, and it has those vibes.
You know what Cleveland's known for is beer and food.
Right, and I do like that. Yep.
Rock and roll.
Yep.
And sports. All right, Lucius Augustus says Game Pass needs to be on the Steam Deck ASAP.
So I think I'll test it. You can get into Chrome, and you could probably do it over the browser. And then the controls are made to work with the browser. So I bet there's a way to do it in SteamOS. I think that Microsoft just needs to release a Linux version of it, though. I know they make Windows, so it's going to be weird, but they should just do it.
George says, greetings, Grubb Lord and Minister Minotti. Well, I like Elden Ring. If I beat Demon's Souls on PlayStation 3, but hated it, haven't sold since. Love Breath of the Wild, though. I think you might like it more, but like that is kind of like a point I was maybe trying to get, because I think a lot of people are going to feel FOMO because these review scores are so high. But like this is definitely still a Souls game. I do wonder, like, does it transcend that in some way? You know?
Yeah. It's going to be. I'll be very interested to see what the conversation around this game looks like near the end of the year. It's hard to predict. I was sort of flabbergasted by the reviews, so I'm like hesitant to predict like what anyone's going to be thinking about this game. And I'm going to be along for the ride and just playing it along with everyone else. That's what I'm doing right now. So sorry. Yeah.
Supernova says, what's up, Mike and Jeff? How does Obsidian deal with a huge name like Fallout New Vegas 2? If the rumor is true, the Tomb has 3 projects and they are still under development. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, listen, they are going to finish their other stuff first. That's why, I mean, when I said very early, I meant very, very early, like just conversations, not anyone anywhere actually beginning this work in earnest. They would finish other stuff first, and then they would start doing this. But the point I was just trying to get across is they are interested in finding a way to get Fallout out again faster. They're just waiting for Bethesda Game Studios, and they think Obsidian might be able to do that, and also might be able to do a good one and one that everyone wants, and would be interested in doing it. So it's like everything is sort of falling into place, but nothing's actually fallen into place. Like it's still in the process of doing that.
All right. Next one here is from Bryant Skimeka. With games like Chrono Cross and other Square Enix IPs getting remasters, remakes, what's something like Parasite Eve having a chance for a comeback? Parasite Eve, man, I don't know. I don't think it has a great chance. Maybe, like that's something at this point, I think you can hope to see it in that classic games tier of Spartacus, right? I think that's going to be Parasite Eve. Like, if they're going to remaster something from the PlayStation 1 era that isn't just Final Fantasy, it'll probably be like Valkyria Chronicles or something like that. Would be my guess.
I feel like Parasite, I mean, to me, Parasite Eve was such a huge deal, but looking back, it seems like it probably actually wasn't. Like, that was just like, oh, the magazines I was reading then, the people that were writing there were just very into it and making a bigger deal out of it than what it was. Like, it was never anything close to Final Fantasy. So, but I don't know. Something about it just seems like it's different. It's exciting. I think if they announced it at like a PlayStation showcase as it was getting a remake or they were doing a new one, I bet it would get a pretty big pop. And a lot of it would be like mostly for people who never played the originals, but even still, I think it would get a pop.
Yeah, I have to admit, yelling kid. I have to admit, I'm a little biased because I just never played Parasite Eve very much. Maybe that's something I need to go back to and finally check out. Oddbean says, you guys decide so I don't have to. Hey, that's the point of the show. What class should I play for my first run through Elden Ring? I'm not above using magic. The magic does look fun. If you're going to use magic, it sounds like you're supposed to use astrologer. I almost said astrologian because that's what that class is called in Final Fantasy.
It's not astrologer?
No, it's astrologian, astrologer. People do that in Final Fantasy 14 too. They say astrologian instead of astrologian, and it pisses me off. Yeah, it makes me furious.
It made me furious in Call of Duty when people would say martyrdom as Marty-dom.
Oh my god.
Made me so. I'm like, guys, people actually do this in real life. Please just learn this word. This is like an actual thing. Please just learn it. Please just learn it. It made me so mad every time I would play. And then people are like, you sound like you're trying to be smart. I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. I gotta go.
Yeah. It sounds like most people say Vagabond is probably the easiest one to start with. At least, or like the best one to start with. That seems to be consensus. I hear people like Samurai too. I started with Hero.
Don't be a coward. Play Prisoner like your favorite man, Jeff Grubb. In the review guide, they said it's a late bloomer class. It took a long time. It's going to take a long time to get good, but it comes with a wand, and I'm just using that magic on so much shit and like destroying it. Like in my
magic apparently is very strong, and that's the thing that sucks with my class. Like I really can't use magic, but so again, reason to play again someday.
What I did, I picked Prisoner, and then I picked Golden Seed so I could get an extra flask at the beginning. So I had 4 things, and I just did 2 and 2 healing, 2 magic replenishes. And if you can replenish your magic a couple times through a life, it's very easy to like really whittle down some of the big bosses while cheesing them from a distance. And it's good. I like it a lot.
Well, one of the nice things about like a pure melee build though is that I can't just allocate all my flasks to health.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, and then what was it called? Wretch is like the super hard mode class, right? Like the one that just starts with like
in your underwear. Yeah,
it's hard mode is what that is. You're not quite at hard mode, but you're close. But I would say Vagabond if you want to be a melee thing, maybe Hero or Samurai, and then Astrologer if you want to do magic. Although there's like one of them is like the mix between the like. It's like the spell swords people like. I can't remember. People seem to like that one too. There's some pretty good guides out there. I always like picking classes in these kind of games, Jeff. I always like doing the research and looking and seeing.
I don't like doing that, and yet I still like picking it because I'm like, listen, I'm gonna pick something. It's probably gonna be wrong, and I'm gonna have to live with those consequences. And something about that, like just being presented with that choice right away, feels aggressive to the way I play games in a way that I'm like, listen, this is the relationship we're gonna have, video game, and I like that.
Iriel Delgado says, can you change the aspect ratio on your camera or the stream so we can get wide mic? I'm already pretty wide. I don't know how much wider I want to be, Jeff. We're already having enough camera issues this week too before I start messing around my camera, my
trying to see if aspect this is ratio. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, all right, this is the rest of the show. There we go, everybody. All right,
there we go. Now we're all happy finally.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna actually have to.
I like how we can't see you. That's a good aspect. Well, now I'm into this.
All right, well, now it's fixed. Now it's back to normal.
I was
feeling insecure, so I had to go back. So,
all right, Chow21 says, "Who gets acquired first? PG, Square, or Ubisoft? Who's PG?"
Platinum Games, probably.
Platinum Games, Square or Ubisoft. Ubisoft's not. I don't think Ubisoft's going to get acquired. Square, I always say like maybe, but I don't like. I always thought maybe if anyone was going to do it, it'd be PlayStation, and now I'm not sure if they're going to.
Mm-hmm.
Platinum Games still seems like Platinum Games is the one that are actually talking about it a little bit,
right?
And they're smaller.
Ubisoft
than these other
talked about
ones.
it as well. Ubisoft's like, listen, we'll listen to any deal anyone brings to the table. Except for Vindy. Fuck with Vindy. He said that. That's a direct quote.
You know what that's going to hurt Platinum Games is that I think they want a Bungie deal with that much like freedom.
Yes, they do.
And autonomy, and that probably is autonomy. That can't be the right way to say
autonomy.
that. Autonomy. Thank you.
Yep.
I try to make it sound like my name, Minotti. But they probably will not get a deal that good. Jared Helder says, can I explore an Elden Ring without fighting? I mean, you're going to have to fight eventually just to progress, but it's very easy to run away in Elden Ring, especially if you're on your horse. You can go to a lot of places. Now, you will come to some places where you can't use the horse, and then you might be in trouble. But even then, you can kind of run away if you
I get frustrated when I can't use the bell to summon the wolves.
Yes.
I'm like,
yes, I know, because it seems arbitrary sometimes, like when I'm allowed to summon the wolves or not. But
and it's like you're sort of inside. I'm like, there's no gameplay reason for this. This is just a tech reason. This is just them. It's going to break the game if I summon them in here. And so they're just not going to let me. I know that's what it is. It's From Software. That's what they're doing.
Good morning, Games. It says curly fries on me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff already has his curly fries, apparently.
Yes, I do.
Iron Mike says, Prisoner as a late bloomer is a Berserk reference. Jeff, I have not absorbed any Berserk media, so I will have to take their word for it.
I trust you, Iron Mike. Fair enough.
Yes, but thank you for letting us know. That's it for the Super Chats for now. If you guys have any more, you can bring them in. Jeff, can we take a quick break?
Yeah, let's take a quick break, everybody. Listening at home, we'll be right back after this.
I consumed a lot of liquids.
Yeah, you take care of yourself, big guy. We understand. I'm gonna see if I can convince these kids to go away. Hey, you guys want to go upstairs? I mean, you have to go potty. You want to go potty? Okay. Hey, Addie, you guys want to go play upstairs? There's toys.
You should put like both of you wide. Like instead of like vertical, you should like horizontal cut it, and you are super wide.
All right.
Both of you.
All right. Fine. This is what we're doing.
We got wide Chef and wide Mike. Yes. Ah. This is art, people.
This is art. All right. Oh, hang on. Let me. Let's do that, and then I'll bring it up, and then I have to hold Shift.
Yeah.
Let me alt it. Man, OBS is good. OBS is just good software.
OBS is fun.
It's just good software.
Oh, see, beautiful. The white boys.
Man, I hope my Control Z is gonna have enough like memory to get us back to where we were.
Yes. Been there.
All right, I'm gonna flex now.
Turn on ink.
Right.
The white cheddar boy. This is the way that podcast meant to be done.
Welcome to Street Fighter 6.
Why is Mike so framey all the time?
I don't know what's going on. My internet connection is fantastic. I reset everything. I think Discord's just being weird.
My mom gave me a quarter to put on the Street Fighter machine so I can play next.
That's true.
Okay. All right.
I've had enough of this.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I think we're good. Now I don't look right when I'm normal now.
You've never looked right.
That's a good point. All right. All right. Let's get into it.
All right, I'm back.
And I am back too, and then we're going to answer some questions from the Discord community. Let's start here with Delta Prime 84. So, Jeff, I'm a lot like you in that I'd rather spend time building something in a game or getting a truck out of mud or drive a car around a track instead of playing quadruple A masterpieces. As a games journalist, how do you get yourself psyched up to play through the big mainstream games for your reviews and podcast discussions? A lot of times I just don't. I let myself be who I am a lot of times. So most people are pretty accepting. No one's like, really mad at me for not liking the same games they like. No one really is. Like, there's some people on Twitter who are weird about that. They don't actually care. They're just using it for their fanboy wars.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah, the whole thing with Returnal wasn't really about Jeff. That was about some other weird tribalism, lizard brain thing.
So it's like, if a game comes out and I'm not too excited, if it's not my jam, I'm like, this is okay. I'm still probably going to try it and we'll see. But if it doesn't click, I'm not going to hold it against the game. And the people making the game know at this point, like, oh, that's just Jeff. And they're not going to get mad if that's the conversation I have when I talk about it on the podcast or whatever. From Beefhammer. So how many Elden Rings do I have to find in the game before I become known as the Lord of the Rings?
I thought this was going to be a cat shine joke, but like, how many cat shines are in Elden Ring? Yeah. Well, how many? There's 3 rings for the elves. There were 7 for the dwarf lords, 9 were for men, and then 1 ring to rule them all. So you do that math, and that's how many rings you need to be the lord.
I think math is always better when it's this nerdy. That's the best kind of math. From Bench JC, hey fellas, hope everyone is having fun with Elden Ring. Question: would Elden Ring be the same game if Breath of the Wild were never released or thought of? I see a lot of people shitting on Breath of the Wild with the reviews and release of Elden Ring, but I think it definitely is influenced. It's a
1,000,000% influence, and people get mad. Like, I can't believe that one of the most successful games of the last 5 years is also one of the most influential games of the last 5 years. It's crazy.
From like the most influential game developer of all time, releasing a game that everyone says their best game ever. A lot of people say it's their best game ever. Like, yeah, and I guarantee if you ask the designers at From Software if they were influenced by Breath of the Wild, they will gush about, absolutely we were. Here's an idea that we had because of this. Yeah, 100%.
Like, were people mad back like when Grand Theft Auto 3 influenced a bunch of games? Were people mad when like Skyrim came out?
I honestly think that this is mostly the thinking of people who have never created something in their lives, that have no creative bones in their body, because they're just like, it doesn't count unless you create the entire thing in your head without any external influence. And it's like, no, that's not how anything works. You're just very stupid. But there's a lot of those people, so oh well. One Up versus CPU. Should we be reading anything into Microsoft moving Bethesda launch or removing Bethesda launcher or moving Bethesda launcher games to Steam instead of the Windows Xbox app? You'd think they want to move them to the app they also use for Game Pass. Could we maybe see the option to get Game Pass on Steam someday? I think this is mostly just them making the right move for their audience and saying, hey, we're going to move your games to the place that you almost certainly also own games. Instead of being like, we're going to move you into the Microsoft store. That seems a little bit aggressive, where moving people to Steam is just like the right thing to do, because it's what most people would prefer. And if you want if you want those games in the Xbox app, well, just subscribe to Game Pass then. That's kind of probably their thinking. All right, from Turbo Sean, the person that is the meanest to Super Metroid on the internet. Happy Friday, guys. Mike, be honest with us. How disappointed were you that Street Fighter 6 reveal didn't include Cammy's RE engine booty cheeks in 4K?
Look, they're coming. Don't worry about that. Yeah, you know, sometimes you get worried about roster reveals. Cammy will be in Street Fighter 6. Don't you worry about that. There will never be a Street Fighter game without Cammy.
Cheeks.
Yeah, they'll be wide. I'll tell you what. And she's gonna do her pose where she like turns around so you can look at the wide cheeks. We'll be fine.
And she'll, yeah, Brian, I was gonna say show you the land, the lands between.
You be the one to take it too far, not me.
From Velocity Prime 1. Happy Friday, Jeff, bin driver, Grubb, and Mike. I'll tell you what, Minotti. Can you confirm that Elden Ring is the Breath of the Wild of Dark Souls? I will never say that phrase. I am. Oh God, I just did. Oh God, I just did.
It's the Dark Souls of open world games.
Yes, there you go.
That was my very successful tweet. Not to brag, but I got a tweet that got 10,000 likes this week. Yeah,
man, that got 10,000 likes. I read that, Mike. I'll be honest. Can I be honest with you? I was like, this Mike could do better than this. You can do better than this.
Apparently not. Wow, yeah, apparently not, Jeff.
Like, oh,
Look at Jeff diminishing my accomplishment.
No, but of course it's like, if I feel that way, of course everyone's gonna be like, this is great. This is great. It's like, I'm like, yeah. I don't think I liked it, because I'm like,
why don't you talk about ants some more and how they control the world or whatever the hell you fuck?
I don't think I liked it, because I'm like, Mike could do better.
Wow. Wow. Okay, you know what? I'm glad I got there without your pandering retweet then.
Yeah, that's what you're right. It's more real. You guys are gonna unplug this computer. I swear to God. Stop looking at the cords. You just have evil intent. I can tell. All right. Velocity Prime 1 continues. Seriously, though, why are people so touchy about comparing new releases to Breath of the Wild? Breath of the Wild is a great game. They really stuck with devs. Why is it bad to be an influence? We kind of talked about this a little bit, but I mean, you're right. It's weird. People need to get over it. Everyone wants just their favorite thing to be the thing that is influential, and everything else is kind of, they want to forget about, but whatever.
Right. Like, it's not a slight against Horizon, like Forbidden West, that it's not an innovative game, right? It's fine that it is just a very, very good and executes things really well, and it brings together these ideas in a nice way, right? So I don't know why people take it as some like insult.
From Casual, dear Bouillon Boys, this week's question is about friendship, more specifically about making new friends as an adult. I'm 31 and could count the number of friends I hang out with regularly on one hand. I live in a small town, and now one of these friends is moving. Do you find it easy to make new friends? No.
No, but it's also weird. I had a much easier time with it in my like mid to late 20s than I did in college. Like college, I wasn't making many new friends, and then I made a ton in my late 20s. Now, I'll be honest, in my late 20s, I was going out to bars a lot, and I don't know if that's necessarily a healthy thing to suggest, but the thing is, you just need to do things. You need to find activities where people are. Like, you can't just stay home all day and hang out with the same three people at like each other's houses and expect to make friends. You know, you have to like join a flag football league or something, you know, something dumb, but yeah, that sounds stupid. Find some community outreach stuff to get involved with, volunteer your time.
Yeah, go. The real answer is find a group that's playing D&D regularly in your neighborhood and just join up with them. And
ew! Oh, don't be friends with a bunch of fucking nerds.
Well, then you be the dominant one, and
be
you
the
put them in
dominant one.
Yeah.
Right.
This is tough for me. I've got 2 kids, got no time to go out and do that stuff. So it's like it is what it is. There was that SNL skit about the man park where it's like wives taking their boyfriends or husbands to a park, like a dog park, and like letting them play with each other and like getting to like socialize for like the first time ever. And there's like the one shy guy who's like hiding underneath the bench. That's basically reality. That's basically what it's like. From VJ Incoming. Happy Friday, everyone. Jeff, what's the strangest game you tried on the Steam Deck? Yeah, it probably is. I think it's the Trials of Narnia. That can't be right.
Narnia. It definitely isn't called Narnia. It's just the porn game you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Trials of Nadia or something like that.
Is that one of those with like the ads as like play me, my lord?
Yeah, basically, yes, yeah. And it's like if you were to hover over the video on Steam for a second, it would just be straight up intercourse, like is what you would see. So yeah. And then I tried Operation Sexy Sudoku, and that didn't work because it has a mouse bug. Let's see, from Winnie, who I need to apologize to because Winnie's in Kentucky apparently, and I said some shit about Kentucky, and I'm sorry. Any idea how those of us with PS Now already will fit into this Plus model? Will we be rolled over, or should I turn off auto renew ASAP? I'm sorry, I don't know how that transition's gonna play out. I wish I had an answer for you. It's definitely going to be a thing that they're going to have to address. I just don't know how they're going to do it. I would say maybe turn off auto renew, but also maybe you get grandfathered in and you get a longer deal or something because you still have it. I don't know exactly. From Easy Izzy. What is the origin of your gamer tag? Shout out to King Strifey, the coolest gamer tag I've ever seen. I'm just Jeff Grubb now everywhere. Before that, I was Job because... I was like Neo Job 64, and before that was Joe. Before I got banned from AOL and I had to go to Neo Job 64. I was at Boy Scout camps, and I had never seen the movie, but some kids at Boy Scout camp were quoting the Lawnmower Man and saying, "I am Joe, but not today," or something like that. And I'm like, "Oh, Joe, that's a cool name." And so I went JOBE, not knowing it was spelled JOB, and made that my AOL name when I got a chance. And then used that for a long time, and now I'm just Jeff Grubb everywhere. Mike's explained his a couple times.
Yeah, I didn't even know what your gamer tag was, but I wonder if I should move on to a tag-less world. I don't know, but mine's, I don't know, like I've had mine so long now, I feel attached to it.
Yeah,
so mine's Tokoto, and I literally combined Tolkien and Miyamoto because I was a big nerd when I was 15.
Fucking alpha.
Imagine that.
Just an
fucking alpha move there. Yeah, for sure. I think I wanted it to sound Japanese too because I was playing like the Battlefield 1942 demo in computer class, and I was like on the Japanese side. I was like, well, I need a Japanese name if I'm gonna play on the Japanese side. And the only Japanese name I knew was Miyamoto, but I didn't want to just do that, so I came up with Tokoto.
The only Japanese name I knew. That's incredible.
It was, oh yeah.
For Pappy Wappy, did either of you ever get caught up and participate with the console fanboyism? And if so, what made you break free of it? Oh, I absolutely did.
Yeah, when we were kids. Yeah,
yeah.
I was a big Sega fanboy. And then when they died, I did become like, I don't know if a fanboy at that point, I was probably too old for that, but like I decided that the GameCube was my side in that generation. And it's just, I got older. I realized it was stupid and stopped. Basically, by the time that 360 generation came out was when I did not care. And I think even then there was like a little bit of like some people were trying to do the whole like Wii 60 thing where it's like we like Nintendo and my Xbox, but we don't like Sony. And Sony was being like kind of unlikable at that time. So you see how that happened. Even then, though, like basically as soon as Uncharted came out, it's like who cares? This stuff's all good. There's all just faults and pluses everywhere. And just because we have weird genetics that at some point, tribalism was good and healthy for us, and it helped us prosper and make more babies. We don't need to hold on to that just because our dumb lizard brains want us to.
Yeah, I was the Nintendo chat on AOL. I spent a lot of time in there. It's how I got banned. It's probably fanboyism in there, arguing with people. I did that for a long time, and then I think how I broke out of it is I started dating a girl, and I was like, I was imagining myself explaining how I was spending my free time to her and was like, well, this is fucking embarrassing. I'm going to stop doing this. And I kept playing games. I just stopped arguing about it in that way. And, there was also good role models at like EGM at that time who were like very good about bashing that stuff down and like being like, listen, we are adults here. We enjoy all this stuff. Quit being absurd. And it was good to have that. I think the the One Up Yours podcast would like finally like really stamp that out for good.
I think you're right. And if we could do that for the younger, like I don't blame kids for doing it. I understand.
No,
but if any
absolutely not.
young people are listening to us, I want you to understand it is silly and it's not worth it, and it means absolutely nothing.
Yep, absolutely. From Laushin. Hey guys, hope your week went well. No questions for me this week. Just wanted to wish a good weekend and thank you again for great content. Thank you, Laushin.
Yeah, we're going out tonight for AJ's birthday, actually. AJ's birthday was earlier this week, so my brother.
Addie, don't do that. She's got a Sharpie and she's writing on stuff. And the one thing she chose to write on is, not that this actually is worth anything, but it's a Addie. Oh, never mind. It's ruined. It's a box for the original Oculus Rift that is signed by Brendan Arib. It's actually signed to Dean Takahashi too, which is incredible.
How did she get a Sharpie?
She's found it. Have you ever met a 3-year-old? I didn't even know we had that Sharpie. I've never seen that before in my life. She's yeah. All right, whatever. It's ruined.
Did you get the Sharpie away from her?
Listen, she's right on that box. Once she gets, I mean, I'll go get it. But it's like, you know, she's just right on that.
The Sharpie now, Jeff. I don't know. I'm uncomfortable about her having a Sharpie.
She's going to the computer. Never mind. Hang on.
Yes, get the Sharpie. God, I'm not getting the Sharpie. Have I ever had a 3-year-old? I'm never having kids. I can't do it. I have this much anxiety over what's happening to things I don't own.
I got
to
it.
a person
We're good.
So far away from me. You did it.
Parenting accomplished.
We did it. We saved the world.
And now she's giving me the mean mug. All right, fine.
Jeff, you goddamn jerk.
Oh, no, she just said sorry, Dada. Thank you, baby.
That's right. She knows what she did.
that box is just scribbled on. I'll get a picture of it and I'll post it to Twitter or something like that.
It's probably what the Oculus branding deserves, but still.
Yes, exactly. From Octo /Radu from Romania. Hey, Jeff and Mike. First off, sending all my love to the people of Ukraine. Absolutely, we echo that. Romania isn't the best, but we welcome you with open arms. Romania is one of the countries welcoming Ukrainian refugees, which is going to be a serious problem. So shout out to you guys. Let's see. To get back to video games for at least a little bit, let's talk about February/March releases. From what I understand, the main reason so many games come out in this time frame is because the fiscal period year ends after March. For most companies, that's true. So they need to get these games out to bolster their earnings for that quarter. That's why you very rarely see games slip past March, and when you do, you know it's probably in very rough shape. Also, the reason why you do see games slip from holiday to spring, am I wrong about this? Is there another main reason? I think that's generally the biggest reason. That's probably the biggest one. Also, I think that it's March is still pretty cold. Like February, March is still pretty cold in North America, Europe, and Japan. And so, and Asia, a lot of Asia. So it's very easy to like launch a game then and expect people to be inside buying a lot of games. So I think that they try to take advantage of those two factors. What do you think, Mike?
I think that's right. I think a little bit of the winter thing, but mostly just the financial year thing.
And then he says a softball second question. When do you think we'll get our last big cross-gen game? Previous gen, we got Metal Gear Solid 5 and Rise of the Tomb Raider in 2015. Both cross-gen, though Tomb Raider only came to Xbox 360. Have a great weekend.
I forgot that Metal Gear Solid 5 came out for like Xbox 360. Is that right?
Absolutely,
Man,
it is.
Crazy. Yep. That is insane.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder. So what do we know? Gran Turismo is Modern Warfare 2 coming out on Xbox One?
Absolutely, yes. This will be the last Call of Duty because then they're taking a break. Is the reporting.
So I still feel like there's going to be a game in 2023 coming out for the older systems, especially with the supply chain issues.
I mean,
right?
if we're not counting like FIFA and all that stuff.
Sure, yeah, like right. Like there's probably still a PlayStation 2 version of the new FIFA coming out that I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know. It's tough to say, but I mean, this Call of Duty might be one of the last ones. I don't know. I guess let's wait and see what Sony's going to announce and see if they are fully done with PS4 after God of War.
Yeah.
From Screaming Madden, man, I sure want to play that Elden Ring. Problem is that there's both Steam reviews and PC impressions that point to the PC version being poorly optimized from stuttering to crashing. I really want to get a current gen console to play Elden Ring and other games, which leads to my question. When do you think we will see a healthy supply of PS5s and Xbox Series X's and S's? Next year sometime. It's kind of, I mean, the very earliest next year. I'd say, excuse me, probably by summer is probably when we'll get it. But next summer, not this summer. So still a long ways off. From Gerber, happy Friday, guys. It's almost 4 years, May 2018, since Microsoft announced their adaptive controller for gamers with disabilities, but we still haven't seen an equivalent product from Sony or Nintendo. Both those companies have introduced software improvements to make games more accessible, so they do care about the issue of accessibility, but why do you think we haven't seen them launch their own version of the adaptive hardware? Do you feel that they should? Do you feel like they should be put under more pressure to produce similar hardware? Footnote: Hori do produce a Nintendo-approved adaptive controller for the Switch, but it's a lot more expensive in Western markets, at least. I was under the impression the adaptive controller at least worked on the Switch.
Like the Xbox One. I know it does work for some things, and I think that they're generally pretty happy to support it. But like, should there be a PlayStation branded one and a Nintendo one? Probably. I mean, Microsoft makes those things at a loss, right? It's not like those bring in money per se. So, and if anyone can afford to do that the most easily, it's Microsoft there. So there, I don't know, maybe that's a cynical way of looking at it. I would like to see Sony do one.
It was a mod that got it to work on the Switch, so it's not officially supported. That they should just say, hey,
they should just officially support it. They should just say, yeah, that works on Switch and PlayStation. If they're not going to make their own, just exactly, especially these days.
Yeah, what's the point? Like, Microsoft's losing money on it. This is not a competitive market that you need to be like trying to keep people out of. Just embrace competition here and let them do the work for you. It seems like the easiest solution. From Low Rule, my biggest questions for the Steam Deck embargo, and if you have already covered these, then feel free to skip. How does Epic Game Store work? I haven't tested it. That's one of the next things I'm going to do. How does Game Pass work?
I need to know that because I need to get Kingdom Hearts on there, Jeff.
Oh my god,
I'm actually very concerned about that because I want to play the Kingdom Hearts games.
How does Game Pass work? I am also going to test that. And then does Cyberpunk 2077 and GTA 5 run well enough on the Steam Deck? GTA 5 should run perfectly fine. I mean, remember, that's also an Xbox 360 game. It's pretty well optimized on PC. Cyberpunk 2077 also worked. It was a little bit less optimized, 45 frames per second, but it worked. And I was able to play quite a bit of it. Although the latest update did break something for me, and I'm not sure if that's going to be permanent, if that's something that's going to get sorted out soon. So when I was able to play it, it worked just fine, and I was like, I might play through this game again, see what the improvements are like now that I have it on the Steam Deck. But
remember, I was like, I'm going to play Cyberpunk 2077, and I downloaded that trial, and there sure has been some other things come out. I tell you what, maybe not a good time to release the next-gen version of Cyberpunk 2077. People were saying that, and at first, like, well, you got to do it at some point. And now I'm like, no, this is an awful time to have done that.
Yeah. We got a few more here. Epic Open World. There's a lot to talk about, or there's a lot of talk about open world design and map games versus Breath of the Wild / Elden Ring style. Am I crazy to think the best design solution is somewhere in the middle? Mark things like important locations, major quests, vendors, and dungeons, and then leave the rest of the world to find and explore.
Halo Infinite's kind of somewhere in the middle, I think.
Yes.
I mean, there's no best solution. They're just different ways of doing it. Like, again, like Horizon, Forbidden West, and Elden Ring are both very good games, even though they're on opposite sides of that spectrum. I will, my question is, are we going to see more games kind of leaning more towards that middle ground or more towards that Breath of the Wild, Elden Ring style as like the default, whereas the map game style has kind of been the default for a long time?
Yeah, I watched that Donkey video about Horizon, and he was just like, every game's a map game, basically kind of complaining about that. Make a different game, video game industry. And I don't think that's likely to happen anytime soon. I think there's a lot of mileage still in terms of sales to be made out of like tweaking this formula. But I think that people will experiment with more hybrid models like you're suggesting here. Jump Matt asks, is there any reason not to dual boot SteamOS and Windows on Steam Deck? Yeah, they said it doesn't work very well. So someone in the comments last time was like, you don't know what you're talking about because you could dual boot. So everything you're saying doesn't matter. And I'm like, that's not what literally Valve is telling me. They're like, you can install Windows, but if you do so, it is going, like, you're going to need to get, like, contact us to even reinstall SteamOS. I wish I could, like, find the wording real quick, but it's I'm not going to go and try to find it.
Not like you're clicking a couple buttons here.
Right, and it's not like, okay, now, so when I want you to do Windows stuff, I'll just go into Windows, and when I need SteamOS stuff, I'll go into SteamOS. Now, maybe that's changed, and maybe that's going to change soon because of, they've improve the process or whatever, but up until now I haven't been able to test that because they made it sound like it wouldn't work. All right, let's see, or at least it wouldn't work very well. From Nintendo Bro, is it sensible to take the Steam Deck with you to the restroom, or is it a bit too big for that? I have played quite a lot. I bet I am the person in the world who has played Elden Ring the most on the toilet.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud.
Somebody make a plaque for him.
Yeah, I really, at least at a certain point during the review process, I am almost certain that is true. Because I had a pretty lengthy session one time, so
great.
Yeah, I don't mean to brag. From Danger Man Leet, sorry for late submission discussion points. With Treyarch's Call of Duty in 2024, I wonder if they'll fully cycle 2 years after that with Treyarch and Infinity Ward. Makes way too much sense for me, and maybe those support studios can now be full new original Xbox only games. Those support studios will likely, many of them probably still will get roped into working on Call of Duty here and there. These are still going to be big games, but giving each of those studios 2 years might make some sense. It might make more sense for like if it's like 2.5 years, something like that, maybe closer to 3 years, and then that way they have a lot of time between each one, and they don't have to rush because they're on a 3-year schedule before because there was 3 studios. So going back to 2 years would be like crunching that timeline down even more. I don't think they'd be too happy about that. Danger Man goes on to ask, is Game Pass potentially going to have a Steam version a la EA Play? I think that's possible. I think that's something they will probably look at doing eventually. It doesn't seem like there's any rush to do that, though. Let's see. And then Ukrainian game developers, i.e. GSC World, who are the makers of Stalker 2, supporting the Ukrainian defense efforts. I genuinely am worried for them for obvious reasons. Yeah, it sounds legitimately scary there. And there's people that I know who have people in those areas where they just stopped hearing from them because they're probably traveling, trying to get somewhere safe, and it's scary. Louis Patelli says, happy Friday, fellas. It's February 25th. So that obviously means you just choose the game of the year, Horizon or Elden Ring. For me, between those two, it would be Elden Ring. Mike, where you at?
Power Slave Exhumed.
There you go. That
game is good.
Yeah.
That game, I'm getting close. I'm really liking that game.
And finally, from Keywork. Okay, boys. Time to discuss the more of the Galactic Star Cruiser Halcyon. Being such a new trilogy fan, Jeff, would you spend $8K to sleep in the room Kylo Ren was officially conceived in? Mike, please tell me you are following the media coverage of this hotel. I have been crying nonstop. I'm vaguely aware that people seem to think it looks pretty cheap and bad.
Yeah, so they had the press invites this week, and I forget if those reviews came out or not. I haven't seen too many. All my Disney YouTube people are going to start making their videos soon. They might have even come out today, and I haven't seen them yet. So I'll be curious. Sometimes you have to be careful because some of those people get very this is the media preview thing, so I bet it was blitzed up quite a bit, and some people are already kind of excitable. Sure. It certainly doesn't seem like that's something I want to do immediately. That is for sure. The weirdest thing about it is that it's basically like a cruise setup. So you're in Disney World and you're paying Disney World prices to stay at a hotel there, but you're doing cruise ship activities, and you can't really just leave when you want to. Even though the whole point of staying at a Disney World hotel is that you can leave and go to Disney World.
Right.
Here, they have an excursion where they send you to the Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars area of the one theme park, but it's I want to go to Epcot every night and get wasted. So I don't know. The whole thing seems a little weird to me. I'm curious. I
like the idea as a super duper Star Wars fan, the idea of being stuck in this thing. Oh my God, she found another thing. Okay, that one's not working. Thank God. Good. But being stuck in this Star Wars ship, pretending I'm actually there, I like that concept. You really have to pull off that execution. And also, if anyone sort of decides to ruin the fun of others by being I want to go to Disney. If you were there yelling about whining, it would be oh, okay, this sucks actually. So it seems like a very fragile thing to try to pull off.
It's very high concept. It's very fragile. We'll see what people think, and I'm more just to see what the actual first people think, and not the media VIPs being invited.
I mean, we all know reviewers always are paid off.
Right, exactly. So you can't trust them, right? That's why they put them up in a hotel.
Hey, to be clear, we actually don't accept being put up in a hotel at our job. So
which is why I don't travel very much
Yes,
anymore.
exactly. Yeah.
Because I don't like the cheap hotels we can afford. I don't like sharing a room with 4 other people.
Yep. The lack of dignity of games journalism.
I actually want to go back. I want to accept the hotel rooms. I miss having nicer rooms when we were at Bitmob, man.
Yes, I never felt like, oh, I got to say nice things about this Call of Duty game, but
I did
whatever.
Whatever. I don't know. It's always such a. I don't want to get into that whole thing, but part of me is like, look, I know who trusts me, doesn't trust me, and the people who get mad at me, it's usually for way dumber.
Yeah, and they were never right. They never were going to trust me in the first place because they were just looking for reasons to get mad. Right.
Right. So I don't know why I had to pay $500 most of the time. That doesn't get recompensated because of bad financials. But anyways, what's next, Jeff?
Yeah, that we're done with the questions from the community. Did we get any more super chats?
I think we did at least get one more. Yeah, one more here. Supernova says, should we expect the official unveiling of Street Fighter 6 at Jeff Keighley's event this summer?
That sounds really likely. If it's not at a PlayStation State of Play, then probably at Jeff Keighley's.
If it's not a PlayStation exclusive, then maybe there.
Yes, I think that sounds very likely.
I mean, Capcom might just have their own.
True.
Would they? Capcom might have their own thing. They might not, though.
Yeah,
but they could have a big year. They could have that. They could have, some next Resident Evil thing to talk about. They could maybe even have like Monster Hunter World 2 to talk about. They have a lot of stuff that could be discussed soon.
Don't throw my books. That's one of my Star Wars books. I love that a lot. All right, I got to go deal with these kids. Mike.
No, they seem like they're great. Let them go.
So we've talked about Steam Deck. We've talked about Elden Ring. Do you have anything else for this week you want to talk about?
No, I think I should be able to beat Power Slave by Nintendo, so I could talk about that.
I'm excited about that. I was playing that on the Steam Deck. So yeah, it works very good on there. No surprise. Oh yeah, look at that. It's me playing a game and you standing there in your underwear. Yeah, you should put some pants on. All right, then let's wrap this up. I think I'm just gonna hit the music. Mike, let's get out of here. Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
Find me on Twitter at Tolkoto, TOLKOTO. Check out the 90s Disney podcast at 90sdisney.com. And we'll be back on Tuesday with Last of the Nintendogs.
I am Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I am Jeff Grubb on Twitch. I will probably find some time to either stream Elden Ring and or the Steam Deck, like playing games off the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is like not great for capturing stuff because it really does try to like render stuff at 800p and no higher, but there's tricks to make it look better. I'll probably do something, answer people's questions more directly in that format. Join the Discord, discord.gg/GameMess. There is going to be a Discord Q&A this weekend for people who are either Patreon members or are Twitch subscribers or anything like that. I still need to set that up. There's like a way to do that through YouTube. I'll try to set that up here pretty soon. But that'll probably happen Sunday morning. So if you want to get into that, join the Discord and then join the Patreon. The links are all in there. And then, I'm going to probably try to take it easy this weekend. It was a long night trying to get that Steam Deck stuff done. I want to do like more Steam Deck stories. I'll see if I can get some stuff done today. I wanted to like...
Poor Jeff, he was so busy. At one point I pestered him like, wait, we should have written a story. And by we, I mean you.
I thought about like telling you to write some of the other stuff, but like I didn't know if I want to write a story about the Dragon Age thing, or not the Dragon Age, the Fallout thing. Cause I'm like, it's so flimsy.
But the thing is, if you put it out there, then someone else
does.
anyway.
You're right. That's the kind of thing where maybe I actually should just have you write it and be like, and in that case, that I feel better about that for some reason.
I'll take the heat. I don't care.
Yeah. All right. We'll do that next time. All right, everybody. Well, we'll be back. Mike, you got any plans for this weekend?
Going out tomorrow. Actually, going out Saturday too. So I guess I'm going out a bunch. We'll see if I get tired of that.
Going out. Very excited for you. Very excited.
Bustling social life for Mikey.
Yeah, how are you feeling about that these days? I've been like sort of like being like, oh yeah, I'm like ready for that again.
Yeah,
in my
I'm like a jerk, and I know like maybe I shouldn't be, but I'm like, I know that.
It is what it is, man. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.